Hi, this is Dr. Swanberg. I wanted to welcome you to English 102 and go over a few points from the syllabus with you. This is a long document, so I'm not going to go over every tiny detail of it, but I am going to highlight some of the important points. Please notice that it does say that my office location is in Zoom. My office is not large enough to distance in, so I will be holding office hours either in an empty classroom if it's an in-person class or via Zoom. So we'll talk about that as we find out which kind of class you are in. My online students also do have office hours to attend. There will be daily Zoom help sessions, which will serve as office hours for y'all, and I definitely encourage you to come to those Zoom help sessions anytime you want to talk over an assignment or ask some questions or get clarification or work on a skill that's troubling you. So make sure that you are looking for that information. This talks about our textbooks, but let me back up here for a second. Textbooks and other learning resources. The poetry, short stories, and drama in this course are open source materials provided free of charge via links in the course readings Blackboard module. So you don't have to buy an expensive textbook. However, you are required to purchase Criterion editing software. And this software must be purchased from the Lawson State Community College bookstore. You can order it online from the bookstore. Make sure you do that early enough for them to send it to you in the mail if you choose that option. I think there is an option to have them email it to you, so check on that. This software is required. The price point is low. It's under $20. So since I'm not making you buy a textbook, there's going to be no excuses for getting this software. It's under $20. If you have used a Criterion in the past, you do need to purchase a new code. It's good for one semester. All right, I'm going to skip through some of this stuff. You are not doing Cengage, not Cengage, Criterion. All right, we have some essays that we need to write. Notice that each of our essays is between 1,000 and 1,500 words. So these are a little bit longer than our 101 essays. We're developing these a little bit more. Specifically in our class, we'll have a poetry essay, a short story essay with research, and a drama essay. And this middle one here is where we'll spend really the bulk of our semester working on that one piece at a time. And with these, I do try to help you walk through them one piece at a time so that by the time it's time to put all the pieces together, you've written it all. And it makes procrastinating a little harder. And that's my goal. Please notice there is a grade for attendance. In an online class, your attendance is based entirely on having done the work for week one. So your attendance will be marked as present in week one if you have done the work for week one during week one. In an online class, you would be marked tardy if you did the work for week one in week two. But if you did the work for weeks 1 and 2, you would be marked tardy for week 1, but present for week 2. Present is 100% and tardy is 70%, which is still passing, but not as awesome as being on time. In virtual and in-person classes, you are required to attend the class sessions that you're scheduled for. And in virtual classes, that means being there with your video sharing, ready to participate, sitting, not reclining, all those good things. We'll go over that a little bit more. We've also got weekly assignments. My weekly assignments are all geared toward building these larger essays. So these are pieces of this. And you get feedback on them so that by the time you, again, turn in this short story essay with research, you've written and gotten feedback on all the pieces of it, the thesis, the body paragraphs, that sort of thing. Okay, so you had feedback on it before it's due, which is really nice. And in small pieces so that if something goes wrong, you can fix it before the next assignment. All right, I'm going to move down through some of this. Let's talk about attendance for a minute. We touched on that a minute ago. Attendance for virtual and in-person classes is based on two factors: participation during class time and work completed. You'll be marked as present if you are attending and engaging during the class time, but you can be marked as tardy instead of absent if you've completed that week's work, even though you were unable to attend the class. Attendance for online students is based solely on work completed and the timely completion of that work. So week work 1 has to be done by the end of week 1 to get present. Otherwise, you'll be marked as tardy. But tardy is still passing, and usually at the end of the semester, anyone who's got a passing grade, I go in and, if you've been attending fairly regularly, if you've just got a few tardies in there screwing up your grade, I go in and get rid of those few tardies and turn them into presents or excused. Sometimes absences are excused. In in-person classes, we're going to talk in person about this, but there will always be an option to attend via Zoom if you are not feeling well. And again, you will always be able to be marked tardy by getting the work done for the week. I don't want anybody coming in sick, not for the sake of attendance. It's not worth it. So I'm going to make sure that you can pass your attendance grade and get good attendance grades, even if you do have to stay home sick. Lateness, try to be on time. That's just a thing. All right. Plagiarism. We've really had some problems with plagiarism with students being in the virtual and online world, and it boils down to this. If you are not confident in your ability to write these essays on your own, you are not ready to pass this course. And the other thing that I've noticed is that I can always tell. I've found several students every semester, and remember, if you can find it on the internet, I can find it on the internet. And I usually recognize plagiarism because it just doesn't match your personality. All of a sudden your word choices change and your syntax is different. Not better necessarily, but different. A 45-year-old person who writes professionally is just going to have a different voice than a, second-year college student. So just kind of keep that in mind. Professional decorum. Most of these in the first 6 are for in-person classes, but some of them do apply to classes over Zoom. Just remember that these do really apply in the virtual classroom. Just make sure you're kind of translating them. Unnecessary traffic in the classroom may not be yours, but you may have people coming in and out of the room, and it's distracting to your peers and to me. So just in a virtual classroom, please be ready to share your video and be in a well-lit space. Use your microphone, be sitting, not reclining. Be dressed for a public and professional setting. Be ready to take notes and engage, and minimize those background distractions as much as you can. Now, you can't tell your mama to go away, but we can do our best. And sometimes the distractions will be on my end, and I do apologize in advance for those, but we're all just trying to be human here. In an online class, just do remember that those Zoom sessions, those help sessions, are always available to you. There will be one each weekday. When you do come to those, do make sure you're ready to share your video and be, dressed and all that good stuff. All right. Statement of discrimination or harassment and Americans with disabilities, they go together in my mind because they're all about fair treatment of each person who enters the classroom, whether it's an in-person classroom or a virtual classroom. We absolutely need to be respectful of each person and their personhood, and remember that each person is doing their best on any given day, even if their best is not what maybe they hope it to be or what we would hope it to be, and just give them a little bit of grace when we can. We also want to remember that each person in this class has the same opportunity to earn an A as every other student. And we want to make sure that each individual is using all of the tools they need to do their best work. If you are a student with a disability, I want to make sure that you have your accommodations, so make sure you get in touch with our ADA counselors and get me the list of tools that you need so that I can provide them to you right from the very beginning of the semester. You don't want me driving down the highway without my glasses, and I don't want you working without your additional time if that's one of the tools that you need. So make sure you're using those tools so that you can do your best work and be your best self. We are going to be respectful to everyone and kind and happy and generous to everyone. And that's just the way classes go at Lawson. All right. If you have questions about this, let me know. Do take a minute to read through it a little bit more carefully. And if you do have questions about it, please let me know.